Okay, this is the next episode of All Apologies, Guilt, and Blame. It's my third book in my series, Life Beyond Silence. My first book was titled Not a Victim, a Survivor, Life Beyond Domestic Violence and Rape. My second was titled Losing Touch with Reality. And the reason I decided to do the podcast was the fact that it gave me a different avenue in which to talk to listeners and answer their questions, comments. I know you can find my first book on Barnes and Nobles and Amazon and some other avenues. But it also gave me, by doing the podcast, it gave me motivation to finish, finalize, however you want to say it, the other two, and hopefully get them on Amazon very soon. Okay, so let's get back into the episode. In the last episode, I was talking at the end about my therapy and how my therapist, by the way, her name is Emily, but how I had originally gone to her because of my anxiety, obsession, depression, things like that over my medical conditions, and how I guess I had been put off basically by the healthcare system, and how aggravated I was because here I am having, you know, chest pain, high blood pressure, stroke level blood pressures, diabetes. I'm taking like 14, 15 meds a day. And I'm like at the end of my rope, basically. Or at least that's the way I was feeling. So I figured seeing a therapist would give me a little peace, maybe. And when I first started seeing her, she was like, "Oh, I get it. I can't believe this is happening to you, but I get it." And I'm like, I just don't understand. I've worked in healthcare all these years, and now when I need healthcare myself as a patient, it seems like they're not listening. And I get it if a doctor told you something and you weren't in healthcare and you didn't know really anything, and they said, "Well, we didn't do anything. Just go home and we'll keep an eye on it. But you didn't need a stent right now. So just go home and do what you do, and we'll keep an eye on it. And if you do have chest pain and you think it's a heart attack, get to the hospital." Most people would be like, "Okay, doc, thank you." Well, not me, because I knew what kind of blockage I had, which was an LAD blockage, which is the left ascending basically the widowmaker artery. Let's just say that. And I knew that it was not, I wouldn't say common, but there is a chance that you would have a massive coronary, a massive MI, however you want to say it, a heart attack that is so devastating that you literally drop dead. There's a chance. I'm not saying how much of a percentage or anything. I'm not a doctor. I'm a nurse. But being that I had stroke level blood pressure and all these other factors, and I had been going through this for quite some time. It wasn't just recently that I had these blood pressures. They had been going on for years. And I get it. Some people are like, well, if it's been going on for years and it hasn't killed you, because I remember back talking to a military physician, and he's like, I know you've had headaches for years, and I know you're concerned because you're having them all the time. And I know you have had blood pressure issues. This is way back, too. Way, way back. But he was like, if it hasn't killed you yet, it's probably not going to. Okay, great medical advice. I mean, I was like, why do you even go to doctors? I mean, you've been doing healthcare for so long. Why do you even go to doctors when they're going to say, well, if it hasn't killed you yet, it's not going to? Just like that comment about people that say, it hurts when I do this, doc. And so the doc looks at him and says, don't do that then. That's not an answer. It's funny. Yeah, it's funny. If you raise your arm, it hurts. And the doctor says, well, then don't raise your arm. Yeah, that's hysterical. But is that good medical advice? No, because if the patient is really hurting when he raises his arm, or when he stretches it out, or when he twists it, bends it at the elbow, whatever you want to say, then maybe he has an issue. Let's look at it more scientifically. Let's take some x-rays. Let's send him to a specialist if we have to. But it's not funny. It is funny now, but it's not funny when it happens to you. When it happens to you and a doctor says, just go home. You're smart enough. You know things because you're a nurse, and you'll get to the hospital. Like, he knows for sure that I'm not going to have a massive coronary. I think, in all honesty, they did know that I was extremely obsessed with it, and that if I had any kind of twinge, I would be right there. That's totally not true. That's what he thought, but that's totally not true. Okay, sorry about that. Truthfully, I don't like going to see the doctor, and I don't know many people that really do. Especially people that are in healthcare, they tend to do what I do, which is diagnose myself and take care of myself and do what I know to do for just about everything, even when it comes to my children. But I just, when I first started seeing her, the therapist, I just wanted to scream because I didn't want to pay out a ton of money to the pharmacies for my medications. I didn't want to go to the doctor all the time. I didn't want to have high blood pressure to the extent that I did, where I was literally, I could feel it coursing through my veins. I didn't want to have uncontrolled diabetes, even though, like I've said before, it's hard when you have diabetes and you're thinking, oh, just change your diet. No, it's not easy to do that. And there's a lot of other factors that come into play, but it's hard. Life is hard. Medical conditions are hard. And growing older is hard. You know, by the time all this was happening, yeah, I had money, but money's not everything. And it wasn't like I knew what to do. So I was trying to stay cool, calm, and collected. I had enough going on with my medical conditions that I just put it in the bank and was thinking it over. I paid bills, but I was thinking it over. And my medical conditions were so severe that I felt like retiring basically was the right thing to do. I was also thinking over if trying to get disability for my heart was an avenue that I could do. At least I would have some kind of money coming in. And my doctor kind of urged me on that too. The one that I had that was my primary care at the time, she was like, no, I really think you should try to get disability because, I mean, this is big. Your medical conditions are I guess you would say, she said, your medical conditions are substantial. And I don't know if you'll be able to get it because I know a lot of people are turned down the first time and then they have to reapply. But she said it's worth a shot and it will help you significantly because then you'll be on, I guess, basically Medicare. Anyway, so it would help me with paying for insurance is what she meant. So, yeah, I was going through a lot. I was doing as much as I could to figure out what my next steps were. And when you're not getting around really easily, you're having trouble getting around, having trouble doing your daily activities because you're sick a lot. And I don't mean like sick throwing up. I mean like you're just on a roller coaster with your health conditions. I guess that's the way I would put it. Anyway, I was disgusted. And my therapist was trying to, I guess, in a way, I thought that she was trying to like look at my dysfunction from my family and talk about my past. And in some way that would, I don't know, relax me from stressing out over my medical issues, something that I couldn't control. And she said that. She's like, you know, you're obsessed and depressed over your medical issues, but you can't control them. And you're just going to have to ride it out and see if they can reevaluate you and decide that they can now do the stents. And it's funny looking back now, I know that they also should have told me then that stents would not have done good. Okay, I'm sorry about that. There's a lot going on here. But yeah, looking back, if they had said stents in that area would not do good, and so we're trying to put off doing anything to you because you're probably going to end up having open heart surgery, I think that would have kind of calmed my anxiety and obsession over the fact that they didn't put stents, because then I would have known they couldn't have, or that wouldn't have been the best thing for me. So that would have helped a lot. Anyway, getting back to my therapist, I think she was amazing, but I also think she kind of dredged up my book, my story, my life, and it kind of led into me thinking about finalizing the second and third book and go ahead and getting them up on Amazon. I just didn't proceed with that at the time because of my medical issues. But she also kind of helped me see things in a different light. And she helped me remember some things that happened that I completely maybe had put aside. Like the whole thing with one of my dad's friends. My dad left me there while he went to, I guess, test drive or check out a vehicle. And to be honest, it could have been a boat that he went to check out. I don't remember, but I just happened to end up at one of his friends' houses. And I had completely kind of just not thought about this. And I remember I was, I don't know, let's say 15, maybe. I know I was already doing drill team. And drill team's like a dance troupe for halftime shows and parades and things like that. Anyway, I remember I was alone with the guy, and it's not like I want to cause any problems, so I'm not going to mention who it was. But I was alone. I knew my dad would be back shortly, and I just remember him making me feel uncomfortable by getting really close to me and kind of rubbing against me and telling me that I was pretty. I don't think anything really happened, but I remember the uncomfortable feeling that I felt. Sorry again. Like I said, there's a lot going on here, but I wanted to try to get loaded in another podcast. But looking back, I just remember how uncomfortable it was and how I never said anything, just like so much else that I didn't say anything about. Okay, I'm going to close this episode. It's just too many things going on here family wise to continue, but I will be back. Thank you for listening to All Apologies. I'm not a professional podcaster. I'm learning as I go, and there's still so much to say about my life. So please continue listening. Thank you very much.